Hello, my name is Askat Sharliyev and you're watching the news from Kazakhstan. 32 war veterans from Kazakhstan who were supposed to attend the Victory Day parade in Moscow never reached the Red Square and had to celebrate the holiday some 100 kilometers away from Kremlin.
The Second World War veterans Grigory Severushenkov and Seitken Sagitov missed the Victory Day parade in Moscow just like other 30 Kazakh pensioners because the Foreign Affairs Ministry forgot to submit veterans' list to Kremlin.
We were simply fooled. While we were protesting against this injustice some 100 kilometers away from the event, Nazarbayev and Medvedev observed the parade on the Red Square. This is unfair. We already expressed our indignation to the ambassador, who promised to help us, but nothing happened so far.
Pavlodar officials are also outraged as they believe that the veterans were supposed to attend the parade in Moscow.
We were surprised to learn that our veterans didn't participate in the activities on the Red Square. We monitored all the events and didn't see our delegation. Later we found out that they were simply not there.
The Foreign Affairs Ministry said it never planned to bring the veterans to the parade. Apparently Kremlin's quota for Kazakhstan was only 4 people.
Why don't you call Kremlin first and learn what was their quota? They only allowed 4 veterans and 32 additional people from Kazakhstan. Call the Defense Ministry. They should not avoid responsibility as they were in charge of the situation.
The departure and arrival of the veterans were indeed solemn, but they never saw the most important parade in their lives.
Veterans might be forgotten, but not the president. On May 27th, a member of the Kazakh parliament proposed to erect the monument to the head of state, following the promise of the Turkish president Abdullah Gül to open Nazarbayev's monument in Ankara.
Parliamentary Antina Sazdykov appealed to his colleague, asking them to support these initiatives on raising a monument of Nursultan Nazarbayev in Kazakhstan's capital.
Why a monument to our president cannot appear in Kazakhstan sooner than in Turkey? We, the MPs, need to discuss this issue and finally settle it.
Apparently, there are not enough sites dedicated to Nazarbayev in Astana yet. After all, recently renovated complex featuring the president bas-relief hyped as grand. Upon the opening, though, its effect was somewhat opposite. Its vivid background only emphasized the absence of monument.
We need to use this opportunity to express our gratitude to the leader of the nation, Nursultan Nazarbayev. It is no coincidence that the heads of states as well as international leading economists recognize the president as a distinguished reformer and a global-scale politician.
The MPs once again displayed their readiness not to question initiatives somewhat related to the president and will likely anonymously support the idea with the monument. The situation is similar to the passing of the Leader of the Nation bill, which actually grants the possibility of erecting a monument to the head of the state. Considering the recent pass of lawmakers, Kazakhstan will definitely leave Turkey behind in monument building.
There is a law on the leader of the nation which allows raising monuments to the head of state. I think the president deserves it. I support the idea, and since Turkey is doing this, why can't we?
Tita Sazlikov says his idea is just an expression of civic stand. Nevertheless, the question of how regular citizens of Kazakhstan will react to other initiatives of MPs aimed to pleasing of the president remains open, as it might finally exasperate the population.
Karaganda's officials organized a special seminar teaching methods of propaganda of the state symbols. The authorities believe the majority of the population is really proud for their country. Find out more from the next report.
A recent seminar in Karaganda was dedicated to the topic of enforcing the love of the state symbols. Officials believe that the professional, subtle propaganda must be aimed at youth who should talk about the pride of their country not only in universities and libraries, but also at home. It is yet to be decided what exactly the professional propaganda is, although all necessary symbols are already known. The main one is incumbent president recently appointed as the leader of the nation. The seminar's organizers said the new status also needs some propaganda, however there are no specific plans for that yet.
The president of Kazakhstan deserves to be proud of. Just look at his peaceful policies. The chairmanship of the OSCE is also a big work done by our president. Enough. I will not give you any more comments.
The main Soviet slogan was "Workers of all countries unite." Now it is about the strategic plan until 2030. Communist Valery Moskvitin says that issue is not the propaganda method, but rather the population's life standards. If people have good enough life, they will definitely love their national symbols. Here he has the later issue of the communist newspaper with Nazarbayev quotes said back in Soviet times.
The head shall not hold the same position for decades. Nursultan Nazarbayev, Friendship of People magazine, 1987.
Back in 1987, the president believed that glamorous anniversaries and parade-style management is the sign of totalitarianism. Unfortunately, communists are not invited to the seminar on love to motherland and president, thus they might be simply not in the know.
The public activist Aydos Sadykhov was unexpectedly arrested in Aktobe on Thursday. Just recently, Sadykhov has famously quit his membership in the Social Democratic Party Azad. Now the activist links the arrest with his political activities.
The former head of Aktobe branch of the Social Democratic Party Azad Aydos Sadykhov was arrested when he exited the gym. According to Sadykhov, police beat him up and later handcuffed. The investigative task force and an ambulance also arrived at the scene to document Sadykhov's aggressions. The Democratic activist was accused of attacking a passerby and stealing his cell phone, while Sadykhov claims that it was the police that attempted to plant the phone in his pocket.
I believe this is related to my professional opposition activity and the recent events when I spoke about the collusion of the party Azad and authorities. I also called for more radical actions like rallies, pickets and protests.
As of Thursday night, Sadykhov was still in Aktobe's police department. The law enforcement agencies and authorities are not in a hurry to comment on the incident. At this point, the true reason for the arrest can only be guessed about. Sadykhov has many enemies in the region. In past, he sued the local governor and denounced the friendship of the central leadership of Party Azad and the president's administration. Most likely, the police will charge the politician with hooliganism in accordance with Article 257 of the Criminal Code.
A bill to tighten control over advocacy is being prepared in the Justice Ministry. This happens at the time of several high-profile cases in which the defense noted the political or custom nature of the proceedings. Experts say that if passed, the new amendments could completely eliminate independent advocacy in Kazakhstan.
The practice of independent advocacy can soon disappear in Kazakhstan as Justice Ministry prepares a new advocacy bill to be reviewed by the MPs in June. On Thursday, the already concerned lawyers of Almaty Advocacy Board discussed the bill and proposed alternative suggestions.
The laws developed by the Justice Ministry do not improve and even impair the work of lawyers.
The officials' amendments stipulate the creation of disciplinary council under justice departments in order to review complaints against lawyers themselves. These commissions, already nicknamed triplets, will include 2 officials for each attorney. In other amendments, see the expansion of the list of reasons for the revocating of lawyers' licenses. The Almaty Advocacy Board recalled the recent situation with Danyar Kanifin when the National Security Committee attempted to revoke his license in order to remove him from Mukhtar Jakishev's case. The board had successfully defended their colleague while the authorities apparently learned their lesson.
These norms will not improve the situation with the provision of legal assistance, but can undermine the independence of advocacy and even eliminate it altogether.
The Almaty Justice Department reluctantly comment on the repressive spirit of the coming amendments. Officials say that the situation is struck by some attorneys with selfish ends in their fear of losing licenses.
These amendments will allow defending the rights of citizens more professionally.
The participants of the Almaty Board's meeting came to the conclusion that the reason for innovation is the independent position of advocacy in the famous politically motivated cases. With new amendments, the authorities want to obtain an effective tool for eliminating of any decent defenders.